What makes a book or movie exciting? What makes you want to keep reading to find out what happens or stay until the end of the movie? Conflict. Yes, conflict. It is a necessary element of any story, driving the narrative forward and compelling the reader to stay up all night reading in hopes of some sort of closure. Most stories are written to have characters, a setting and a plot, but what sets apart a truly great story from the one that might not finish reading is conflict. Basically, we can define conflict as a struggle between opposing forces, two characters, a character and nature, or even an internal struggle. Conflict provides a level of angst into a story that engages the reader and makes him or her invested in finding out what happens. So how do you best create conflict? First, you need to understand the different types of conflict, which can essentially be broken down into two categories: internal and external conflict. An internal conflict tends to be one in which the main character struggles with himself, such as a decision he needs to make or a weakness he has to overcome. An external conflict is one in which the character faces a challenge with an external force, like another character, an act of nature, or even society. From there, we can break down conflict into 4 different examples. Most stories focus on one particular conflict, but it's also possible that a story can contain more than one. The most common kinds of conflict are man versus self, internal; man versus nature, external; man versus man, external; man versus society, external. Man versus man. When you have both a protagonist, good guy, and antagonist, bad guy, at odds, you have the man versus man conflict. Which character is which may not always be evident, but in this version of the conflict, there are two people, or groups of people, that have goals or intentions that conflict with each other. The resolution comes when one overcomes the obstacle created by the other. In the book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll, our protagonist, Alice, is faced with numerous other characters that she must face off with as part of her journey. Man versus society. This is the sort of conflict you see in books that have a character at odds against the culture or government in which they live. Books like The Hunger Games demonstrate the way a character is presented with the problem of accepting or enduring what is considered a norm of that society but in conflict with the protagonist's moral values. Man versus nature. Natural disasters, weather, animals, and even just the earth itself can create this type of conflict for a character. The Revenant is a good example of this conflict. Although Revenge, a more man versus man type of conflict, is a driving force, the majority of the narrative centers around Hugh Glass's journey across hundreds of miles after being attacked by a bear and enduring extreme conditions. Man versus self. This type of conflict occurs when a character struggles with an internal issue. The conflict can be an identity crisis, mental disorder, moral dilemma, or simply choosing a path in life. Examples of man versus self can be found in the movie Toy Story 1. In the first Toy Story film, Buzz Lightyear represents the core internal conflict of the movie. He's a toy who doesn't realize he is a toy.